Yes, there's a question here which says, does it mean we need to critique SDS or to understand it? You need to critique it very much before you understand the information which is given there. As I said, the information has to be correct. So when you receive a safety data sheet, you should not take it as written in stone, or you should not take it as a religious script that cannot be changed or cannot have errors. Safety data sheets have a lot of errors, many errors, and they are almost. I say they're almost useless. Most of them, very few which you can use. They have a few issues, but majority are useless. So you should critique them. And then when you go into dialogue with the suppliers and you make them understand, maybe some don't even understand themselves because they just write and sell it. So when they understand and you demand that the information should be correct and you get the correct information, then you should read and understand it. But it is important to criticize and look at and scrutinize very much. It makes it difficult when the SDS has info we can't trust. What if it's about storage of the chemical and not just application? The same with storage also. Some chemicals have to be stored under specific conditions. If you have ethanol, for example, or substances which products which contain ethanol, you may need to put this under to store this under fire safe cupboards. You need to have some kind of ventilation. But if this information is not provided in the safety data sheet, and not everybody knows what are the conditions for storage of different chemicals, then your safety data sheet is still useless for you. Another question, is it only me who is not hearing clearly? I hope you were hearing or you managed to fix that problem. Kindly let me know if anyone wishes to ask a question so I can unmute. You can do that, so Mr. Host. If somebody wants to ask a question, you can unmute them. But I'm reading the questions which are in the chat. As a safety practitioner, we are at times limited as we receive what other departments have received. How do we create a culture of SDS analysis before procurement? It's a good question, and I will answer in this way. What you need to do, because the supplier is supposed to give you the safety data sheet, which you can use as a safety practitioner. So what you can do, you can start with putting demands to the supplier. You put the demands to the supplier that we will buy chemicals from you if you supply us with information that is satisfactory to us. You can ask for them to send you the safety data sheets in advance so that you can look at it and then point out what you think is not correct. So the important thing is to put those who have responsibility to compile safety data sheets to do their work properly, because you as a user, you are supposed to get this information. So to create this culture, you need to have an understanding within in-house, to have an understanding of what is good safety data sheets and what is a poor quality safety data sheet. And once you have that, then you can put demands. So if you get your products from another department, the procurement department, we just you say, I want this chemical, they buy it for you and send it to you without anything. Then you should have in your order to that department that we need this information beforehand, so that we can have a kind of a system of internal control on what the information you get from the suppliers. Once we start putting pressure on the suppliers to make better safety data sheets, then they will work. And then, of course, there's the regulation. We expect like DOSH to be involved and to take to task suppliers who don't do their work properly. Looks like many suppliers just include SDS for compliance. That is very true. I totally agree with you, and that's why they don't care. That's why they just send the same safety data sheet which they receive from the Chinese company without doing anything in it. They just required to give a safety data sheet, and that's what they do. From your experience, do Kenya manufacturers have SDS or all of their for all their chemicals? I'm not sure about that. I can say if they do, or I can say if they don't. But I've seen a number of safety data sheets which are compiled by Kenyan companies, and I've seen some companies have several safety data sheets. So if they have for all products or not, that I don't know. But I know they do. Most times, searching of this SDS is done online, and people get information from chemicals of similar names. Yeah, this is a problem. Also, those who are compiling safety data sheets will look for another safety data sheet online, get it from somewhere, put their information, put their name on top of it, and then supply it. But it doesn't make it a good supplies. That's plagiarism. Somebody can be taken to court for copyright, or for safety data sheets have no copyright, but for using other people's information without permission, something like that. So yeah, another question. If a supplier provides the SDS of a particular chemical, must they provide another SDS when they supply the same chemical another time or previous SDS? They can still you can still use the same SDS, but if you receive a product for 5 years ago, and then you order the same product again, maybe you should get a new safety data sheet, because regulations change, and other factors relevant, like exposure values, they change over time, and the safety data sheets have to be changed also and updated. So if you ordered chemicals for a long time, 2 years, something like that, the regulations are very dynamic. They change quite often. So if you received chemicals from a supplier for 2 years ago, and then you receive same chemicals, it's better to get a new safety data sheet. Probably you'll get an updated safety data sheet. Okay, how do you manage chemical resulting from mixture of two different chemicals with respect to SDS? Here there are two things. One, if you have two component products, you have like some adhesive and a hardener, two component product, which you have to mix to get your final product. Then you should have information on the mixture in both. But if you have completely different substance which don't have anything to with each other, but you are using them at the same time, then you have to have what you call an exposure scenario. You have to consider what are the effects from this product A, and what are the effects from product B, and you have to assess. This is part of the risk assessment. You have to assess if there is synergy, or one is affecting the other, in which way can they be used at the same time or separately. But you'll not get this information in the safety data sheet, because the safety data sheet is for that product when it's used on its own, not in connection with other products. But then you have to do the risk assessment yourself and assess how you can put control measures. But you'll get control measures which apply for this product on its own, and control measure for the other products on its own. Hi, do suppliers need to update safety data sheets after any specific period of time? No, there's no specific period of time, but as I mentioned, regulations change, and things change over time. So if you have a very old safety data sheet, it's better to ask for a new one, updated one, because the information could have changed. Classification of the components. Today, you can have a component which is classified as irritant, but after maybe some more research work, somebody finds out that maybe this product is also reproduction toxic. So the safety data sheet have to be changed and updated according to the new findings, the new research. So to have a newer version of safety data sheet is it's something you should have in practice to ask for. Okay, what is the role of a regulator in ensuring compliance, especially for supply side? This should be a question DOSH should answer, but I will say that the regulator has responsibility to see that the information, the supply, first the supply happens, that those who are required to supply safety data sheets actually do that, and then since it's given in the factory and other places of work act, what is supposed to be given in safety data sheet, then the regulator should also control the safety data sheet and look if they fulfill that the requirements which are given there. So this is something which DOSH should do. From looks of things, if the information on SDS is questionable, then this is disastrous. It is. Factual information is needed in risk assessment. What should we advise DOSH? Should advise DOSH that the safety data sheets which you receive are not useful, and that there should be a systematic way of controlling, of requiring that the suppliers can provide the safety data sheets which are correct. I don't know if DOSH will listen to you, but for your own purposes, as I mentioned, it's good to pressure the suppliers to give you better safety data sheets. And if DOSH can help in that, that will be excellent. From your experience, how should employers handle the SDS? Must they be posted at a point of use? Can filling them be better? This safety data sheets are for the employers. What the employees need, they need to know about the content of the safety data sheet. They need to know about what the hazard of the product. They need to know how to protect themselves. So you can get the safety data sheet, and if you post it at the work site, that's fine. But if it will be more useful if you extract the information that the workers need and put it in a way that it's more readily available to them. Because as we see, the safety data sheets can be very complex and difficult to understand. So you can maybe make it a little bit easier. You make it, instead of, if you have a safety data sheet which is on 5 pages, maybe you create a smaller version and have work instructions which are on 1 page. Then, but you extract, you have to use this information. And when you're doing your training, then you inform those you are training, your trainees, on the safety data sheets and what is used for, so that they know about the safety data sheets. But for them, those who are working, you can have a shorter version that will work just as fine. Which bodies are in charge of ensuring suppliers give correct and quality SDS? I would guess this is DOSH. I will guess some pesticide control board could be such an organization which can do such a task. But regulatory, this fall on DOSH. Okay, private message. Okay. Are there any other questions? Because we've come to the last question in the chat. So as I mentioned, and this presentation is also recorded and it will be put on our web pages. so that those who are interested can use it, can send the link to others who are not here who might be interested, and the presentation also will be made available. So if we don't have any other questions, and I give the word back to Mr. Imran Said, our host, to give us the final words. Thank you again for attending and for the good questions, very good questions, very thought of questions. So I hope we get the essence of what it means to have these safety data sheets and what we can do to get them better. So Imran.
Okay, thank you once again, Abdulqadir, for taking your time to teach us. Thank you for that very eloquent presentation. I may not be OSH based, I'm more on the tech side, but I think I have learned so much today. And I thank you very much for that. And once again, thank you to all our guests. Thank you for taking this particular time in the day to join us. I just implore you all to keep up the spirit, keep up the hunger for knowledge, keep sharing, keep learning.